pound for pound, I'm the best. I'm Canelo. Charlo. Oh, I'm lying. I'm this. I'm that. Like, damn, where's it at now, though? Where's it at now? Now that I signed that contract, make it clear. I signed the contract.
Andrade, auto-tune, squeaky talking motherfucker. I smacked the play with me in person. Go to Wilder Fight. I'll see you at Wilder Fight. If you real, go to Wilder Fight. I'll meet you at Wilder Fight. Let's turn up at Wilder Fight. Wilder Fury. Let's turn up. Jacobs, whoever want to fight me, go to Wilder Fight. And I'm going to pick you out the day of the fight. Fuck. Stop playing with me. I'm the champ. Big champ shit. You know what I mean? Hey, big champ shit. Stop playing with me. Yeah, tell them that. What's his name? Eddie Hearns. To call Al Heyman. You know, I don't do that shit. You put the shit together. So Eddie Hearns. Yo, Eddie boy. Bitch, call Al. Stop calling me. The fucking look like I don't fucking make fights, you stupid ass queer. You make the fights if you want to make it, alright? Holler at me later.
What's good, YouTube? It's KB with Just Do Boxing, back with another video. In that clip, you know, I illustrated a little timeline earlier in the video between current WBO 160-pound champion Demetrius Boo Boo Andrade and 160-pound WBC champion Jamal Hitman Charlo. You know, a little timeline of them barking at each other, going back and forth. You know, one clip was old, one of them is newer. You know, recently a live surfaced of, you know, Jamal Charlo mentioning Boo Boo's name. He didn't directly call him out, but he mentioned his name, and he said, you know, you see what happened to J-Rock, you know, pretty much warning them, saying, you know what happened to J-Rock, what happened to Andrade as well, if they don't stop playing. And you also see a little post of you know, Andrade calling Charlo out, saying, you know, he's not a matchmaker and things like that, making himself sound stupid, you know, basically hinting that he don't really want to fight, and if he did, he knows how to go about making a fight. So, you know, that's a little timeline of them going back and forth. You know, the topic of this video is, will we ever get Demetrius Boo Boo Andrade and Jamal Charlo in the ring? You know, will we see that for 2022? Hopefully, because I think as spectators and fans, supporters alike, we deserve this fight. I mean, they've been going at it for years now. You know, at one point they all were in the 154-pound division, that's junior middleweight. You know, and Jamal Charlo and Andrade was supposed to fight, as we know, and it was being reported that Andrade pulled out because Rock Nation supposedly, allegedly told him that they could get him more money for the fight. So, you know, that fight ended up never happening, and you know, the Charlos seem to have an issue with Andrade because of that, and I think it's time to let that go. I think that's water under the bridge, and you know, the more they hold on to something, a fight falling out that happened years ago, like, that's not the only fight that's fell out. You know, that don't mean, oh, you know, you never, you know, make an attempt to fight the person again, because it's obviously a fan-friendly fight, and it's a fight that we need to see. You know what I mean? You got two undefeated young champions in the same weight class. There's just no reason why they shouldn't fight. You know, and you know, being that Boo Boo and Jamal are now at 160 and both champions, you know, I think they should try to get a fight going. I mean, what else are they going to do? They both need a big name on their resume. You know what I'm saying? They both looking for, you know, a big fight. You know, they need a career-defining fight. I mean, you know, the fans, no disrespect to none of these fighters ever, but the fans are going to get bored with the Liam Williams and the Juan Montiels and the Jason Quigleys of the world. And, you know, no knock on none of those guys, but those are not the names we think of when we think of the absolute top dogs at 160. And that's the reason we deserve to see, you know, Jamal Charlo versus Andrade, or Triple G, you know, any of these top guys need to get in the ring. And I think, you know, with Andrade and Charlo having, you know, bad blood and history and barking back and forth, I mean, I just don't see no reason why they don't make this fight. I mean, it's a fight that just, it has to happen, you know, and the fans are going to get tired of the excuse that, you know, they tried to make a fight before and he didn't want it. I mean, Andrade has been relentless. He's been, you know, pulling up to, you know, post-fight press conferences asking for the fight, and, you know, he's being disrespected, you know, by people like Canelo saying he wanted payday. And this is prize fighting, so obviously everybody wants a payday. But that's true. But to say, you know, he's a horrible fighter and he fights with nobody, we all know Demetrius Andrade is not a horrible fighter. That's just cold word for ducking. Flat out is what that is. And it's just time that these fighters step up and start giving. You know, they always saying they do it for the fans and it's about legacy and not money. Well, we know it'll be money behind that fight. And you know the fans that get behind that fight between Andrade and Charlo. So there's no reason why it shouldn't happen. So I'm looking forward to it because, you know, like I said, it's the next best thing up. You know, and the fans need it. And as we already know, Demetrius Andrade, 31-0, 19 KOs, 33 years old. We coming off a TKO, an early TKO stoppage over now, 19-2. Previously 19-1, Jason Quigley in the second round, a fight where Andrade wanted to make a statement, and that's exactly what he did. Fight took place on November 29th, back in 2021. For that, he took on Liam Williams, 23-2-1. Liam Williams on April 17th and won by a unanimous decision in a fight some people complained about. You know what I mean? I think it was a solid win for Andrade. You know, Liam Williams, he hurt him early in the second round, but he wasn't able to finish him. You know, some guys ain't coming to lay down, and some guys just refuse to be knocked out. And Liam Williams proved to be one of those guys. I mean, even though he was competitive throughout much of the fight, he still was outclassed, and Andrade was levels above him. You know what I mean? He seemed to catch Andrade a little bit in the ninth, buzzed him slightly. But all in all, he didn't trouble Andrade at all. And I think, you know, he's shown time and time again that these lower level fighters, that they're just not on his level, that he deserves to fight top level competition. He's proven it time and time again. Like I said, nobody wants to see him in there with anything but the best, because many believe, especially that pay attention close to the sport, understand that Demetrius Andrade is avoided and he's dangerous for a reason. But at the end of the day, these fighters, they say it all the time, they're in it to fight the best. So that's what we expect, and that's the whole reason we want to see, you know, Charlo and Andrade. You know, he dispatched the Jason Quigley with ease. You know, it wasn't much of a challenge for him. You know, got him out of there in the second round. You know what I'm saying? And keep repeatedly having to call out these big name opponents, and it's getting old. It's time for the best to fight the best, especially at 160. It's far too much talent at 160 for anything less. You know, it's a lot of great fights to be made. And like I said, I don't want to sound like a broken record, but we want to see Demetrius Andrade versus Jermall Charlo, not Liam Williams, not Jason Quigley, you know, not Juan Montiel. You know, we want to see a top level fighter in there with another top level fighter. And of course, we all know Jermall Charlo last fight. He's 32-0, 22 KOs, 31 years old. You know, he's coming off a tough win over tough, rugged Juan Montiel by unanimous decision. Montiel 22-4-2. He gave Charlo a tough fight, a competitive fight, you know, because he didn't lay down. You know, you got some crazy people saying they felt Charlo lost, which is just nonsense. I mean, I don't understand if you was watching that fight how you thought he lost. You got some people who really don't understand the difference between a competitive fight and a close fight. You know, you can be competitive, but if you're losing every round, the scorecards are going to read a large margin for the winner. You know what I'm saying? You competitive for 12 rounds, but only win 3 or 4. I mean, what does that really say? You know, you can't really make a case for a guy winning 3 or 4 rounds, winning a 12-round fight. So I just don't see how, you know, they felt like Charlo lost. You know, like I said, that's just crazy. He definitely won. It was a tough win. Unanimous decision. He was cut for the first time. I believe it was because of a headbutt, but make no mistake about it, you know, Montiel was tough, and he definitely got his shots off as well. And he definitely caught Charlo with something that seemed to buzz him a little bit. You know, I ain't gonna say he was, you know, completely hurt, but he definitely got Charlo's respect in there, you know, as he should. You know, sometimes you know, I believe some fighters get up for top competition, and, you know, you think Montiel not aware that he's the underdog and that they're expecting him to go in there and get knocked out, and that's probably just fueling him more. It's probably giving him one extra reason not to get knocked out, or to, you know, to come in there with a certain mentality that he's gonna fight hard for 12 rounds, and that's what he did. But don't be confused by, you know, a great, you know, competitive effort. Don't mistake that for a win, because it wasn't by no stretch a win at all. You know, Montiel was tough, like I said, all around. Just didn't have enough, you know, for Charlo. He made it tough in spots. He definitely made it tough, but, you know, he still lost. A unanimous decision. You know, the right man won. I agree with the judges. And not only did he lose, you know, he was hurt and wobbled on multiple occasions. It wasn't like Charlo never hurt this dude, you know. He showed a lot of heart and toughness and grit, not giving up and not allowing himself to get knocked out, you know. And credit to Charlo for fighting through the swollen eye and the cut that he eventually needed stitches on, you know, for the first time in his career. He could have unfolded, he could have quit. You know, it's like these detractors, they only see fights and, you know, they pull out the negatives. They don't know how to view a whole fight and give you a complete, you know, correct or accurate breakdown on what happened, because they're too emotionally attached. And that's what the problem is. You know, whenever you're too emotionally attached to something, you're not going to see things for what it is. You're going to sometimes have a biased opinion. You know, you going into that fight clear head and just saying this is a fighter in the red corner and a fighter in the blue corner, and you judging it off of what you actually seeing, you will understand that, you know, Charlo won this fight. You know what I'm saying? And not only did he win, you know, he had his moments and it was tough, but explain how he got through those moments and how he could have quit. I've seen fights where fighters got small cuts that wasn't even bad cuts, and I've seen them unravel and lose fights because of it. Like, you know what I'm saying? I think sometimes we take these top level fighters for granted, man. We expect them to be Superman when in fact they're just humans. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, they putting their health, you know, their life on the line for our entertainment. I think we need to do a better job at assessing these fights, and that goes for judges as well. You know, they need to do a better job at calling these fights and making sure they're judging them accurately based off what's happening and not emotion, or not based off who's the favorite or politics or anything like that. You know what I'm saying? And I'm just glad that in a fight that, you know, appeared to be one of his toughest from a physical standpoint, you know, I'm glad the judges were able to see him as the victor, because, you know, he got the right man won. You know what I mean? Like I said, Montiel, he held his own in there, man, and I think he won a lot of fans that night. You know what I mean? It's similar to how Isaac Cruz, you know, he stood up the tank. So, you know what I mean? I think his Instagram followers shot up 100,000, 100K after that. So, you know what I mean? It's, you know, something similar could happen for Montiel, just for, you know, winning the fans over and showing them that he could stand up to a top level fighter. Maybe not necessarily win, but he could compete. You know what I mean? And sometimes that's all you can ask for, is a fighter to do his absolute best and compete. And all in all, I think that was a great fight. And it's leading me to the, you know, the main point of making this video. The big question: will we get Jermall Charlo and Demetrius Andrade in 2022? Will we get a unification fight at 160 for Charlo's WBC middleweight strap and Andrade's WBL middleweight strap? I mean, I think the time is now for this fight, and it just makes all the sense in the world. I mean, just think, You got Andre pretty much aggressively calling Charlo out. He asks his team to make him the petition and make him, Charlo's mandatory so he could get the fight. He put another post up saying, he's coming for Charlo, and he can't keep running and ducking, things like that. So, I mean, why not make this fight now? I mean, Quigley, respect to him, but he wasn't much of a challenge for Andre. Andre didn't sustain any injury or damage whatsoever in that fight. I don't think so. And as for Charlo, with the proper rest after his tough fight, him not having a scheduled bout, we're not even talking about his next opponent. I think it makes all the sense in the world, and I think this is the perfect time and opportunity to face each other. It doesn't seem like either of those guys are going to get the Canelo fight. Canelo has moved up in weight and got plans of doing all these other things. He's jumping weight, so he's out of the picture, it seems like. So if these guys are truly looking to make a push in 2022 and solidify their spots as unified or possibly undisputed champions, then I think this is a step in the right direction. I mean, I don't see why they don't make this fight. The fans have waited for it long enough, and I think we definitely deserve a unification fight at 160 to see who's the top dog. I feel like Andrade is willing to prove it, and I feel like Charlo is as well, regardless of what some people may think. I don't think you get to the level that they're at being scared. You know what I mean? They both have something to lose, but like I said, in a fight like that, there's really no losing. You know what I mean? Whenever I feel like you put your skill set up against the best and you give it your absolute all. If you come up short, I don't look at you as a loser. I mean, of course, maybe box rec or somebody, officially you lost, but I wouldn't look at you as a loser, if that makes sense. You know what I'm saying? And I think the more these fighters understand that win, lose, or draw, they're gonna be supported. I mean, maybe that'll be an initiative to get in the ring more. Maybe they feel like, well, my people gonna support me regardless, win, lose, or draw. And I think that's what we have to make it clear, not just say it, but show it. When these fighters lose, you support the winner, you support the loser. Like, perfect example, I feel like if we ever get, the Errol Spence, Terrence Crawford fight for undisputed, I mean, I'm supporting the winner and I'm supporting the loser. It's a true 50-50 fight, and I'm going to fly on the wall that night. I don't even think I'm picking a winner. That's just how I feel about certain fights. But that don't mean I don't want to see them fight each other. I definitely want to see it. Just like I want to see Andrade and Demetrius, and Jamal Charlo in the ring. I mean, it has to happen, and hopefully we get this soon in 2022. So that's my thoughts, man. Y'all let me know what y'all think. Y'all get in the comment section. Like, comment, subscribe. As always, get in that comment section and let me know. I gave Demetrius, Boo Boo, Andre, and Jamal Charlo their just due, because that's what I do over here at Just Do Boxing. Until the next one, I'm out, my people. Peace.